Welcome to the GameChanger 00100 show. I'm your host, GameChanger. All right. So I finally got around to seeing at least some of that Andrew Tate video. Go ahead and hit that like button. And apparently everybody is covering it. So, I'm not going to say it's a dead story. However, it's been talked about a lot. Now, the reason why I got to it so late, quite frankly, is because I didn't know who Andrew Tate was. And I know he's a red pillar, and this is a red pill space, and his name kind of rang out a few months ago, maybe like half a year ago. And I know he was banned a lot of places, but I never actually seen, heard, or understood any of his talking points. So never had the opportunity to really get into him. Once again, hit that like button. But this Andrew Tate Piers Morgan video really caught the attention of everybody. Basically, it was about somebody between him and someone who is really just trying to maintain a gynocracy. He is a news person. He has sponsors. These sponsors want to sell products to both men and women, but primarily women because they spend more money than men. So he's going to, no matter what, Piers Morgan is going to speak in the favor and on the behalf of women. Period. Anybody can be bought off by women in this marketplace. Anybody can be canceled, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So he gave his extraordinarily feminist and his extraordinary slanted point of view, and he did his best to try to trip up and make Andrew Tate look bad. And we're going to cover all this. This is not going to be the only video where I talk about this review. As y'all know, I take a long time to cover very few, just a couple of minutes of a video, and because I analyze it deeply. This video is 1 hour and 14 minutes, so I'm not going to do it all in one sit-in. We will be all day. I am going to cover one aspect that took place about 8 minutes in, and I think it's relevant because it goes into what I was saying before about if you marry a woman, she is your property and you own her. Many women don't like to embrace that, and also many men do not like to embrace that form of marriage. And we're going to get into why that doesn't work. It's mentioned in this video, and there's other examples that I'm going to give. So make sure you hit that like button. Greatly appreciate it. And welcome to all the early people. We got Jack in the building. We have Gold Eagle. We have Madero. And we have the Clue channel. And we have all the people who are listening silently. So appreciate you all. Let's get started.
Women are the property of men.
No, the point I was making.
Why have you said they are?
Because I made a religious point. I said that when a man marries a woman, the woman's father walks her down the aisle, and hands her away to the man. Traditionally, this is what it says in the Bible. I'm a religious person. I believe in God. I live in the most religious
So you
country
do think
in the world.
that the woman becomes the men?
I think she takes his last name.
I mean, let's watch the clip that you said about
Sure.
this so that we can get it in context.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
Absolutely.
But I've been married twice, as it turns out, and on both occasions.
Right there. I've been married twice, as it turns out. See how he said it proudly? I've been married twice. I have, and trust me, he doesn't have two wives. He's not some, the homie king or the homie prince or whatever sitting there with two wives at present. No, when he says that he's been married twice, it means that he was married, divorced, and then married again. Now, if this is, so you tried not owning a chick. You tried a situation where you wanted to balance the scales evenly, or whatever type of relationship you did, and it didn't work. You want to know what did work? When they had the word obey in the marriage vows. Do you promise to love, honor, and obey your husband? And then she says, I do. Those marriages lasted forever and ever and ever. But what has your marriage done? Your first one. You're working on your second divorce right now. What has that gotten you? What has this not owning the chick gotten you? What has it gotten them? A lifetime of unhappiness. Yeah, they like to prance around and, during their hot girl summer when they're no longer girls. I'm talking about the ones that are like 45 during their hot girl summer. Like, look at me. I'm sipping alcohol with my pinky out on a cruise ship. I'm having so much fun. We see through it. You would much rather be owned. You would much rather be the property of your husband. Now, many men don't know this. I would say most Western men don't know this, but I do. It's just that they have made the concept such a stigma, such a negative stigma, that you are ashamed to embrace that side of your nature, and that is the submissive side of your nature. Fair use. Let me play some more.
I didn't believe that the woman was being handed to me as chattel, as property.
Perhaps the way the reason I'm asked that question repeatedly, and I'm asked in a loaded way.
So would you rephrase what you said there?
Now, that's an interesting point about phrasing. The way I would say things before I was famous, I have to take personal responsibility and accept that if I make a video that 500 people see and 1% of them misunderstand it, that's not a problem. If I make a video that 5 million people see and 1% of them understand.
So specifically on that point, I think my sister is her husband's.
Okay. So he was definitely going somewhere with that. He's basically saying that if he makes a video, 500 people see it, and that's just, and 1% misconstrues it, then that's just 5 people. However, if 1 million people see it, then that's 10,000 people. And that is a very good point. But he interrupted that point because he wants to discredit him. You're going to see that as a theme throughout the many times I cover this video. Hit that like button.
Property. She took his last name. She married him. She wanted to join his family. She has said it herself.
Right. So she's
still a sovereign individual. She's absolutely not a sovereign individual.
Property means that the husband owns your sister.
Listen, my friend, if we want to argue about this, you need to go back to the Bible, to the Quran. You need to argue with religious.
No, I'm not talking about anything in the Bible or Quran.
But that's what it says.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I think that if a woman marries a man and she decides to take his last name, that they have different roles and responsibilities within that marriage, and I believe that. The father hands her.
Don't behave like a politician.
The father hands her to the man.
Right, but don't be a politician, because I think you're a straight talker, right? You keep telling me you're a straight talker. I think my sister is her husband's property. Do you regret saying it like that?
I understand that with my newfound fame, perhaps it could be phrased differently. However, I still believe that a woman is given to the man in marriage. That's what I believe.
Yeah, but not as property.
No, the property is the word that other people use when they ask me the question.
But as
Yes, she is given as property. You see, once again, people like to assume that it's slavery or the person would be treated as a slave if they were given to a man as property in that particular way. But it's just not that case. Yes, she belongs to him. He can rightly say, this is my woman. This is my wife. This is the mother of my children, etc., etc., etc. She belongs to him. And for centuries, millennia, etc., 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 women were perfectly comfortable in that arrangement because men, generally speaking, and I know this is going to be bizarre to hear, but men are not tyrants. Now, we can't be tyrannical, absolutely. And there are tyrants amongst the population of men, absolutely, absolutely. There have been horrific tyrants. Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan was a tyrant. Anybody in the vast kingdoms that he has conquered, the vast lands that he has taken, would agree that he was a tyrant. You want to know who didn't think he was a tyrant? His wife. Oh, yeah, we're not supposed to talk about that, are we? Ever notice how behind every person who's perceived to be a tyrant is a wife that views him differently? You see, we as men can be tyrannical in a lot of different ways to a lot of different people, but those people are men. When we get a wife, though she is the property of the man, she is generally treated in a favorable way. That's why it's called wife and not slave. She's your property that you treat different.
An equal partner in a loving union. That's what marriage actually means. It doesn't mean that when you get married, the woman is given to you as a bit of chattel.
Agreed.
So why say it?
But that's the way that people ask me the question. People say to me, they ask the
Oh,
question.
hang on. You can't blame people for asking you questions. Surely, if you want to be accountable for what you've said, you've got to own your response. Don't blame the question.
I own the response.
It'd be like me asking you a question, say something, and then say, well, actually, I blame you for asking.
I understand, Piers. Piers, I understand. I believe the woman is given to the man. I believe she's given away by the father. I believe she belongs to the man.
So she belongs to the fundamentally, man. All right. So fundamentally, you do believe that a woman becomes a man's property at marriage.
I believe she belongs to the man in marriage, correct.
Right. I see, that to me is misogyny.
And you're entitled to your opinion.
Right. But do you understand why people think it is misogyny?
Notice how he threw that word out there. That right there is misogyny. Okay, you can interpret it that way. I like the way he responded, because that's supposed to be one of those words that you just back off from. Somebody call you a misogynist and you're like, oh, no, that is supposed to be one of those words that is supposed to put you in immediate and instant defense mode. Like, oh, no, I'm not a misogynist. No, we should be equal and separate but equal, and can't we all just get along, and Black Lives Matter? Yeah, all that is true. I'm not a misogynist. Don't call me a misogynist. Now see how that works? See, he said that's misogyny the way a referee would put a flag on a play. Like, oh, you did something wrong. You have stepped out of bounds. You have did something incorrect because your way of thinking, though consistent with, the dominant religions of the world, all Abrahamic religions feel the same way. And by that, I mean like Muslim, Catholicism, Judaism, Christianity, formerly Lutheran. So, I mean, they all pretty much feel the same way about that. In fact, I really don't know of a religion that don't feel that way. If so, it's a very new one, maybe like Wiccans or something like that. See, these have been the rules for thousands of years, at least 2,000 years with the Protestant ones. And the Catholic ones, of course. However, all of a sudden, that's misogyny. That is misogyny. You are breaking the rules. No, sir, you have broken the rule. By taking the word obey out of the marriage contract. You have broken the rules. The foul is on you. The red flag is on you. The penalty is on you. Andrew's just saying what the rules were and should be. Now, you may ask, GameChanger, what is the penalty for him for breaking the rules? Well, he mentioned that he's on his second wife now. That's the penalty. Divorce is the penalty. Equality marriages do not work.
I understand why some people can be very offended by what I say. What they do is they take a point like that and they ignore all the other points I make the other way around.
Yeah, but that's why I've repeatedly asked you about that line to see if you've changed your position. But the reality is you haven't.
It's not about changing positions. I'm a full-grown adult and I stick by the things I say and I'm responsible for them.
Which is always fine.
Absolutely.
But what you did say at the start of this little exchange, you said, you know, I wouldn't maybe say things the same way now that I did before I was famous. And you've doubled down. It's exactly the same thing.
On certain points.
So that is what you believe. That's my point.
Yes.
I'm trying to work out, look, I don't know you. We just met, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to work out who Andrew Tate is and what you actually believe. I don't want to twist anything at all.
Then let me make it very, very clear to the camera. I believe a woman is given to the man in marriage. I believe that. I also believe a man has a duty to protect and provide for her. I believe a man
Exactly. See, you have no duties to a slave. You can simply sell him or her off to another owner, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
should lay down his life if something happens or his wife's life is threatened. I believe that women and children first are on the lifeboats.
But men,
I believe that men.
But a man doesn't own a woman.
It's not. No. It's okay.
Unless they literally buy them as a slave.
Well, obviously, we're not talking about that. We're talking about religious, biblical.
Okay. A man does not own a woman. Yes, he does. Now, granted, this is a volunteer system, always has been, where a woman is to surrender her sovereignty to her husband. Generally speaking, that's how it works. And it still works that way that today. It's just that fewer and fewer women are actually surrendering their sovereignty to their husband. They're surrendering it to industry. They're surrendering it to hyper-consumerism, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this all comes into the form of, Sex in the City, live your best life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's all that is. This is basically you are surrendering your freedom to industry, not your husband. To welfare, not your husband. But no, women are prone to surrender their freedom because they're not as comfortable in freedom as society would have you believe. Now, they're given a choice and society convinces them to choose otherwise. Doesn't change the fact that when they choose to surrender their freedom to a man, not only are they more content in that particular situation, the relationship lasts significantly longer. Shout out to grandma, shout out to grandpa. If you ask grandma right now, not just my grandma, if you ask grandma right now, did she surrender her freedom to grandpa? She'll say, hell yeah. And she wouldn't have it any other way.
Biblical marriage. We're talking about something else.
Yeah, but I'm a Christian. I don't believe that I own my wife.
Do you believe your wife was given away to you when she took your last name?
I believe that there is a process where a father traditionally walks his daughter down the aisle and hands his daughter to this man, and they stand there and become a union of two lovers.
That's what that is. That is what that ceremony signifies.
Loving
So we
people
agree.
in a partnership. No, there's no ownership involved.
I didn't say
He's not selling.
It is ownership involved. Just because, and here's the problem with really the West in general, and that's because slavery is such a strongly rooted aspect of our educational system, the way we teach, part of our culture. In a sense, slavery is such an issue with the countries that had them. And it's kind of like a secret shame, a secret guilt. It gives white people guilt, it gives Black people shame. So they equate almost everything with slavery. You take a man with a job and somebody say, oh, you slaving away for the man. It's like, nah. I'm actually working, getting monies, and using those monies to support my family. You see, when slavery ended in 1865, when slavery ended in the United States, the people who were slaves got jobs. And one thing became drastically clear is that there is a difference. There is a difference between working for wages and being a slave. That became drastically clear. The distinction between slavery and actually working. And a woman who is bought for, let's just say, to perform certain wifely duties, know that there is a difference between that and being a wife. Take Lupita Nyong'o's character in the movie 12 Years as a Slave. She was made to perform wifely duties to a man with a wife. And trust me, I've never been a female slave, nor have I been a female wife, but I can tell you that perhaps there was some part of her that understood the difference, that there is an extraordinary difference between that. Both are his property, but these are completely different types of property.
Selling her. The father of the bride isn't selling his daughter.
No, absolutely.
That's
But
what property means.
She
It's not-
becomes a
it's not
member
like
of your
house,
family.
is it?
I think we're arguing over semantics.
Oh, and by the way, once again, not all property is sold. You can have something that is not sold to you. If I was to, I don't know, if y'all were to gift me something, if somebody was to gift me a microphone, does that mean I don't own it because it wasn't sold to me? Perfect example. I gifted somebody a stove. Does it mean she don't own it? No, that's her property, and she hopefully is treating it well.
We're not, though, because fundamentally, I don't believe a man owns a woman. You do.
Well, I don't think a man owns any sovereign individual. I don't think we live in the world of slavery. I don't own any men or any woman.
Right.
Nobody owns
But when you
anybody.
use phrases like
You own a woman who wishes to be owned. Period.
property, that's what you imply.
I understand.
And so my point again is, you're a smart guy, right? There's no denying it. You're a smart, you're a good talker. I've seen a lot of the stuff. But when you, what I don't think you quite fully understand
No, I
is
understand.
when young, impressionable people who are not as smart see things like, I think my sister is a husband's property, yes, and you've just reaffirmed that belief. They think that they have the right to own women.
I understand that very well, Piers.
Yes. Okay, I'll take care of that. Thanks. Somebody said a second one. Yes, they do. Men, you have the right to own any woman who chooses to be owned by you. Yeah, I'll take care of that. Once again, you have the right to own any woman who chooses to be owned by you. Period. If a woman comes up right now and says, I wish to be owned by you, then that is your right. And if these are the only relationships that you choose to be in, that is your right. Society has shamed men and women from their natural desires for far too long. If you want to engage in a owner-owned relationship with somebody, that is your right. That is part of freedom. See, they don't want to admit that because America is just a country that's built on the ideal of freedom while owning slaves, but let's not get into that. It's built on the fantastic, the romanticized view of it. Like, we have freedom, we have freedom. This is the land of the free. Everybody has freedom. The British had freedom. You know, the ones that you fought for your freedom from. The British had freedom, or has freedom still. The French, what country don't have it?
That's why people think you're a misogynist.
Completely. I understand all of this very well, which is why when you're saying I was backtracking, I'm not.
Do you have any regret, though, over the way you phrase this stuff?
Well, this is the point I was trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is when I was not nearly as famous and I was making long format content, I was not sitting there anticipating I'd become the most Googled man on the planet and that a few seconds could be taken out of context. That was not my anticipation.
No, but it's still what you believed. It's what you believe now. So what's the difference?
It's not about, you're asking me, you're saying that young people who are impressed.
If you said to me, look.
Okay. He is the most Googled man on the planet. I think second is like Donald Trump. So he has been out Googled more so than Donald Trump. Now, why is that? Because what he's saying, just like Donald Trump, what he is saying actually rings truth to both man and woman's nature. You want to be the most talked about kid in the second grade? Say that they're into the Santa Claus. Tell the other kids how you snuck into the garage and you seen all the gifts there the night before. Tell the kids like, hey, how does Santa get to your house and you don't have a chimney? Tell the kids that. Tell the kids that, hey, how come Santa Claus don't stop by poor kids' house? Tell the kids that. See, when something just isn't right, kind of like the Matrix, kind of like Neo in the Matrix, like you just kind of sense that something just ain't right, like something is wrong with this reality. You're naturally going to gravitate towards what feels right, and that is why he's so Googled. when he says stuff like that, there's something in man's nature and there's something in woman's nature that just releases and says, you know something? Something feels right about what he said. Something feels right. There are women out there who feels uncomfortable not being owned, believe it or not. So when somebody like him says that, they're like, that's what it is. That's what I've been missing my entire life. This thing that's so taboo, that I was taught was so wrong because it goes against the westernized ideal of freedom, is what I've been missing. Because what is freedom if not the ability to renounce it? I repeat, what is freedom if not the ability to renounce it? I always hated, even when I was young and even when I couldn't vote, when, you know, how you have Black History Month and then, you know, people start saying, especially if you grow up in a Black city, you know, they'll say they talk about the freedom fighters and they were fighting for the right to vote, the right to vote, the right to vote, the right to vote. And then people say you have to vote because, no, trust me, I agree with voting. I mean, I feel that people should vote. But they say you have to vote because your ancestors fought for the right to vote. Now, did they fight for the right or did they fight for the opportunity? Because what they actually fought for was the freedom to have the ability to vote if you choose to do so. And what women's rights people don't tell you is that what they actually were fighting for was the freedom to be free, to choose whether or not to be free. And I'm all for that. Each and every single one of you women have the choice to free or not to free. That is the question. To be free or not to be free. That is the question. Well, what's your answer? Really stop and think about it. And that's why you're Googling Andrew Tate. Because he's bringing this philosophy to you. He's the one that lets you know that, guess what? Freedom is the option to choose to surrender it. Freedom is the ability to make choices, even if that choice is to omit your freedom to another, to surrender your freedom to another. Deep down, you know this is true. He just bought into words what you know is to be true.
Piers, honestly, I've had time to think about this, and I wish I hadn't said it. I don't believe that. That's one thing. Actually, you've said the opposite. You said, actually, that's what I think, yeah.
I think that when
So it doesn't really matter whether you recorded it when you're famous or not famous. It's what you actually believe, right?
I believe that a man has a duty to protect and provide for a woman. I believe that a woman's father gives her away to the man. That's what I believe, and that's in my marriage. That's the circumstance I'm going to live under. If people want to live in a different scenario, that's completely theirs. Their prerogative.
You went on to say about authority over women. If I have a responsibility over her, I must have a degree of authority.
Yeah.
For the same reason, if I have responsibility over and people are going to use their mind, it's an example, an analogy. Responsibility over a child, I have to have some authority.
Yeah.
So you believe as part of your ownership or your property of the woman, you have authority over her.
No, I believe if you have
That's what you said.
I believe if you have responsibility over something, you have to have a degree of authority or you can't be responsible.
And there you have it. Listen, power and responsibility typically goes hand in hand. Like, only in instances of actual slavery are you not responsible for the well-being of the people who are enslaved by you. You have no accountability, both personal and to society. So, yeah, that is a different instance. However, he is willing to accept the responsibility. But she must be willing to give up the power. Show me somebody who takes power without responsibility, or excuse me, responsibility without power, and I will show you a damn fool. I will show you a damn fool. You are an idiot if you are taking power without responsibility. Or excuse me, responsibility without power. Essentially, you are the person who agrees to, you are an insurance company for free. When something goes wrong, let's just say your car blows up, they can come to you even though they haven't paid you, even though you have no access to their driving records, even though you have no way of regulating their ability to avoid such things. You see, when they talk about, and when I say they, I'm talking about the B-dub. When they say stuff like, protection, protection, oh my protection, 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 oh my protection. When they say that, what they're actually saying is, I want you to be responsible for me without having power over me. Say you have a cousin, right? And her name is Ayana. And Ayana likes to wear red in the blue neighborhoods, or blue in the red neighborhoods. Now, she's free to do that. She has oh so much freedom. She's so free to do that. And then she comes to you, when the inevitable consequences happen, she comes to you and says, protect me. You are a fool at that point. You will find yourself in constant trouble. You'll find yourself dead. And then what happens? Well, she goes on to the next guy, or she finds another family member, I should say. Or she gets with the guy that killed you. But what about your family? What about the woman who did submit to you, who's worthy of your protection? What about her? What about your daughter? What about your sons? They're completely unprotected, right? All because you took responsibility without power. Let me see. See if there's any females I could use as an example. Mutt. If somebody starts shooting, or I see somebody coming around the corner about to shoot, and I say duck, and you say, you don't have no power over me, I'm not your slave, and then they shoot you, I'm not responsible for that. Somebody comes along and say, you should have protected her. No. I did attempt to protect her. I gave her the opportunity to obey, which she declined, and she died stupid. if I say to somebody, don't eat those mushrooms, and they say, you can't tell me what to do, and eat it, more stupid you. More stupid you. You died stupid. In fact, while I play some more of this, I'm going to look up another video.
Responsible.
Yeah, but authority means, again, that you're the boss.
The point I'm making, if you'll please let me finish
Sure.
at this point. The point I was trying to make was talking about the safety of a woman. She was walking alone at night. And I was saying, well, I wouldn't let my woman walk alone at night. And they said, well, you're not in charge of her. You don't get to decide what she does. I said, I understand. But if I'm responsible for her safety and I'm the person who's burdened with making sure she is safe, I have to have the authority to say, don't put yourself in unsafe situations. The two things are linked.
Well, you don't have authority. You have you can absolutely have the right to say to the woman with, I don't think you should. But ultimately,
If she decides, then I
Dying stupid. You can say that. Hey, I don't think you should be standing up. Because people are, and she dies, that's more fool her.
can't force her.
Right.
Of
So
course.
authority implies that you have the ability to control someone.
No, authority believes the authority implies that I have the moral right to sit and say that that's an irresponsible thing to do, and I'm responsible.
That's not what authority means.
Well, I'm not going to. If you think I'm going to lock somebody up in their room, is that what you're implying?
No, I don't think you know what authority means.
I know what it means. I'm saying that if
Well,
I
just a different description of what authority.
if I have responsibility for her safety, then I have to have the authority to tell her not to do unsafe.
Yeah, but authority means that you have some form of control over this woman.
I think you're trying to. What you're trying to.
I'm
do.
only trying to get to what you think. Honestly, I am. I come with no agenda here at all.
I understand.
Okay, that's the biggest lie ever. I come with no agenda here whatsoever. Hold on. I'm trying to see if I can find that other thing. When it's obvious that you have an agenda, it's the same one that they always had, and that's the feminist agenda. Moving on.
And I'm explaining very, very clearly. If I have responsibility over said subject, I have to have authority over it. So let me say you have children, right?
Right.
You have responsibility for them.
No, I have legal authority over my children. That is very different to having legal authority over my wife or my female partner.
Completely. But the point I'm trying to make.
So you accept that?
Why is he saying legal? Notice that? Notice how he's saying legal? Andrew never said that you have legal authority. The level of authority that a man has over a woman is the amount that she surrenders to you. He didn't say legal, but you see how adverse he is. Look at this guy. You see how, look at his chin. You see, look at his tie. Now, and I know this is going to offend some of you ear-faced people, but it has to be said. And I offend a lot of people from Florida, people from Mississippi, left-handed people, fat people. Now, here's another group of people that I'm about to offend, and I apologize, but it must be said. People whose ear attach directly to their face, as opposed to a hanging lobe like I have. People whose ear are attached directly to their face. You are an ear-face person. Now, what does it mean when I say you are an ear-face person? Does it mean that you're ugly? No. Does it mean that you're stupid? No. Does it mean that you're less than a dangly ear individual like myself? No, it doesn't. What it means is that, and this is nothing personal, but I don't like you. That's what that means. It means that I do not like you as a person, you ear, face, asshole. That's what that means. Yeah, it's something like a mutant. Sorry, not sorry. All right.
I accept that
Because you used the analogy of responsibility for a child.
my friend, these are very
These are actually really important things.
they're
Andrew.
important things, but you interrupt me every 5 seconds, so it's hard for me to actually explain my point. The point I'm making here is very simple. You have children and responsible for their safety, so you're going to have authority to say don't go out at night, perhaps because you want them to be safe.
I have legal authority.
You have a legal authority.
Yeah.
Legal authority. I'm saying that if I had a woman, and the question where you've raised this soundbite from, I was asked about protecting a woman, making sure she's safe, and I would say I wouldn't want her to go.
Now, what legal authority do you have? Curious. Like, if you tell a kid not to go out at night and the kid goes out at night, do they arrest that kid for not doing what you, the parent, said? Like, how is that ever enforced in modern society? How do they enforce your legal authority over your kids? I mean, because, if you spank them, they enforce that. If you yell at them too loud, they enforce that. But how is a parent's legal authority over their children enforced? Huh. Just saying.
Go out at night on her own because I'm responsible for her safety. And someone said, well, you don't have authority over her to do that. And I said, well, no, I can't force her to stay inside. But if she were to ask me, how do I protect myself at night? I would say, well, you should stay inside. That's how you should do it.
I don't have an issue with what
So
you
we
just
agree.
Said. No,
it's the semantics.
No, it's not semantics. And this is where I don't think you quite get why there's a furore over what you say, with respect. Because the semantics point would be we're saying the same thing in different ways, but we're not. I'm saying to you that when you say I have to have some authority over a woman, I say to you, you have no right to any authority over a woman. You do over a child if it's your child, because you are the legal appointed guardian of that child.
Understood.
You're not a legally appointed guardian or authority over your wife or female partner.
Legally appointed, absolutely not. I agree. However, when it comes to things like personal responsibility or personal safety, men, largely by society, are accepted. We're the protectors and providers. We can sit here and pretend that in the world we live in, if me and my wife were walking down the street and men were to come up and try and attack us, I wouldn't be the one fighting. But we both know in reality I would.
Right.
I have a degree of responsibility to protect her. So if I have a degree of responsibility to protect her physically, then the point I'm trying to make is I will do my best to make sure she's never putting herself in unsafe situations.
Do you wish you hadn't used the word authority?
The authority is something that she would give to me. She would come to me and say, how can I make sure I'm as safe as possible?
But I don't want to interrupt you.
This man just said he don't interrupt you when he interrupted you throughout the whole thing. Notice how quick he is to accept responsibility. Yes, you have the responsibility. I agree with that part, but authority, no. No, you have the responsibility to protect someone that you have no authority over. So I watch a show, TV series called Walking Dead. Walking Dead is about zombies, and there's a group of people who have a settlement. And they said a herd of zombies is on its way, but they were out protesting. And it's like, something? Okay. So, like they refuse to leave because they refuse to listen to authority. At that point, if you get eaten by zombies, I'm not going to say what happened, but at that point, if you get eaten by zombies, I do not care. That is your fault. If you do not follow the authority, there are consequences. But you see, here's where I slightly differ with Andrew Tate. It's not that I disagree with him, is that he's not really expanding this. He's limiting authority to the scope of protection. Like, authority as it only pertains to protection. No. Man should have authority over each and every single facet and aspect of his wife and children. How she dresses, her social media image, how the children are reared, etc., etc., etc. He needs complete and total authority over each and every single aspect of her being, healthcare, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Without it, it's chaos. And that is what the family structure is today. That is what this white news reporter is on his second wife. Chaos. Because men are accepting responsibility without power. I mean, that is what alimony, child support, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, is, essentially. Alimony and child support is paying for entities that you do not have power over. You do not have authority over. But you are still responsible for their being. If you begin a marriage, if you begin a relationship like that, it's no wonder that it will end like that.
I just want to point out that's not what authority means.
If someone gives, a person can give
voluntary authority is not authority.
No, but that's the point. If
it's
a
not.
woman, Piers.
Andrew, stop.
Piers.
Okay, he just said he didn't interrupt. This nigga just said voluntary authority is not authority. You're stupid. You're stupid. You are an idiot, sir. And I know because you're a white guy with a suit on, we're not supposed to really recognize you as an idiot, but you are. Oh, voluntary authority isn't authority. Kind of like, a voluntary soldier isn't a soldier. You got to be drafted. Like, that's the only way you can actually be in the military is to be drafted. What the hell? Voluntary authority is not authority? What in the entire F are you talking about? When you apply for a job and they hire you, that is voluntary authority. By his logic, you don't work there. He is out of his mind. And he's constantly interrupting. Power and authority is slightly different. Power is the ability to make change. Authority is the tool that you use to do that. And since a tool is also an ability, they're almost completely, the overlap is they're almost completely mutually inclusive. I want y'all to hear that again.
If a woman comes,
that's not what authority means.
If someone gives, a person can give
voluntary authority is not authority.
This is what feminism has done to men, and he's old. I don't know how old, but he's too old. See, ear-faced people say stupid crap like this. Once again, I do not know how old this man is, but he's too damn old. He's too old to say stuff like that. He's too old to say voluntary authority is not authority. Feminism has made it clear that a woman will never volunteer her authority. So the concept of women volunteering their authority is so ridiculous to a man like this that he doesn't even realize that it exists. Authority always has to be taken. This is how out of touch he is with the natural behavior of women, because women nowadays, and for far too long, have been behaving in an unnatural way. It confuses him. It confuses him to think that, oh, you know something? Maybe some women, in spite of their bra burnings and all that crap, maybe it's in many of their natures to desire to be under the control of a man with her best interests at heart. Maybe that's the case.
No, but that's the point. If
It's
a
not.
woman, Piers,
Andrew, stop.
Pierce, if a woman comes to me and says, I want you to keep me safe, she is handing me authority for her safety.
But do you understand the difference between having authority over somebody and somebody giving you permission to have authority?
Completely. I never said
One
I-
is
What the fuck? Yes, authority. Okay, so basically, his question is, do you understand the difference between authority and having somebody give you permission to have authority over them? Authority is the thing that you receive through permission in the instance that you said in the second statement. Now, what he really means to ask is, do you know the difference between authority being taken and authority being given? Which really shows his short-sightedness, because what he's saying is he don't understand authority outside of having it taken, i.e. slavery. He don't understand authority outside of it being taken. This is what the West has done to people. Fellas, pay attention. The whole concept of authority to him, he thinks that is completely separate. That a woman surrendering her authority to a mate in a ceremony like a marriage, which is that. It is that. Now it has turned into something completely corrupt. But initially, it is that. That is the ceremony to which she surrenders her authority or authority over her to a man. That man is her husband. Now, what he's saying is authority shouldn't be taken, and absolutely, it should always be given. But you don't understand that there exist women that will give it. Now, they are convinced not to in the West. Nevertheless, it is in their nature. Deep down, she knows that she is most comfortable in a situation where she is your property and you own her.
consensual and one isn't.
But why are we pretending I do unconsensual things? When I
Because
have
you
no criminal
literally
record?
say, I must have a degree of authority. I have to have some authority. And the point about
Only if
this-
I'm responsible for her safety. If I'm not responsible for her
if
safety,
your
I don't
position,
have a...
if your position now is that with her permission, I would like to have authority when we go out at night to protect her, that's a different
That was
thing.
always my position.
But that's not what you said.
But that was always my position. Pierce.
So again, I simply
And becoming a wife, that implies position. Nobody is forced marrying anybody. His original statement was his sister is the property of his of her husband. That is what he's saying. That is a volunteer. Marriage is a volunteer thing. It always has been. They are volunteering to be in this particular situation. And they are happy to do so. When they say, you know, the happiest day of my life, that is what they are talking about. See, now this is what happens when a woman refuses control of a man. This is the end result of that. Fair use.
Mary, I am out of control. Yeah, I use drugs. I can do what I want, bitch. Yeah, I have sex and I don't use protection. It's my hot body. I'll do what I want.
No authority, right? No authority.
say to you,
It is what I said, though.
Do you wish you'd phrased it a different way?
No, because we're talking about long format copy where I'm talking about a woman who has come to me and said, you're responsible for making sure I'm safe. I said, well, then I have to make the decisions.
When an
which gives me
18-year-old
authority.
boy reads, I must have some authority over a woman, what do you think he thinks?
Well, I understand that. And I said this earlier when you tried to say I was backtracking, which I'm not doing.
No, actually, I'm not. I don't want to.
Okay.
I'm not trying to gotcha you.
Cool.
I'm trying to work out exactly what you.
I
Yes, you
understand
are.
with massive fame comes massive responsibility. I understand that a percentage of the population are always going to take everything that's said by anybody out of context.
Would you change the wording of what you said?
No, I would just encourage people to watch my long format copy and understand it
Would
fully.
you tell an 18-year-old boy you don't have authority over women?
Absolutely.
You would say that?
Unless a woman comes to him and says, you're responsible for my safety, please make sure, keep me safe. Like
I
my
see.
woman
Now
says,
that
comes to
and
me.
Exactly. Now, really, once again, he's limited it to safety. But no, just general authority. He would say to a young man, just as I would, you have authority over the women who surrenders herself to your authority. Beginning and end.
You say I can sign up to.
Well, then we agree.
Yeah, but I don't agree with what you said before.
Because you're taking a soundbite from a 2-hour
yeah, but
conversation.
you haven't been taken out of context because I've read you the entire sentence. It's very.
But you've
confusing.
ignored all the context around the sentence, my friend.
You can't ignore a sentence that says I must have a degree of authority.
But you can when there's a 2-hour conversation where a woman is telling me if she makes me responsible for her safety and me explaining, well, if I'm responsible for your safety, I have the authority to make decisions. So yes, you've ignored all the context.
Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
I think there's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
I can't.
You know why I'm asking you?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
for
say.
the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right.
Okay, so that's that. I am going to cover later. I am going to cover the whole reason behind. Hold on. I am going to cover the reason behind his next part of the segment, which is he was saying that 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds. And I think what he means to say, because I also makes this mistake, is that a woman who's 25 likely was a lot more attractive when she was 19 than she is at that present stage in life. So definitely going to cover that. Now, there's something else I want to hit that like button. There's something else I want to go over. Hold on. All right. So, Tia Mary. I actually have to look up, which one of the sisters is going through a divorce. So it is Tia Mowry. Tia Mowry is entertaining a new era on Monday. The 44, dang. All right. The 44-year-old shared a picture and a message of thanks to everyone who supported her following the news of her divorce. Every book starts with a dedication page, and this one's dedications to you, my friends, my family, and community. The Sister Star wrote, okay. The outpouring of love I received from you over the last week has been so encouraging and humbling. I'm so grateful. New book, first chapter chapter to follow. Love, Tia. All right. Let me see if I can find where it says that. I've always been honest with my fans. Hey, it's no different. That Corey and I decided to go our separate ways. She wrote next picture. These decisions are never easy and not without sadness. We will maintain our friendship as we co-parent. God, I hate that term. I hate the term co-parent because it normalizes breaking up families. I do. Like, oh no, instead of a parent, we'll just co-parent. It normalized breaking up families. We will maintain a friendship and call our beautiful children. I am grateful for all. Let's see. I can't find it. The game star also has support from her twin sister. All right. People are supporting this foolishness. I'm trying to find the story of when they first, or the type of marriage that they had, because that is key. That is key to explaining why out of nowhere they divorced mid raising children. So bear with me while I look that up. And then there's something else I want to look up, and then maybe I'll put it out there. I'll put the link out. Actually, let me do that. Nah, I'm not doing it. All right. Maybe it's this one. She and her husband, Corey, separating from after 14 years of marriage to family and actress, the shy star. All right. Decisions without sadness, remain friends. Let's see. Oh, dang. It's like she's divorcing to promote her book from what I'm reading. Hold on. All right. Let me do this. Because basically, I want to talk about how she says that it's equal partnership. When the divorce was fresh, that's what she was talking about, that this was an equal partnership, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then why did it end? Ever notice how all these equal partnerships always end? Like the reason why the divorce rate is like 50% is because of equal partnership. Both women and men are not happy in this equal partnership arrangement. They're not. And it's not about money. It's not about, supporting the family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just a primal feeling that both parties get. Damn. All right, let me try it one more time. Instead of for divorce, I'm going to type in Tia Mowry equal partnership. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, after just a few minutes on the phone with actors Tia Mowry and Corey Hardick, you can start to forget they are TV stars and not one of those psychologist couples who writes child-rearing books together. These two have a well thought out plan. By the way, this is before the divorce. This is like 4 months before they decide to get a divorce. It's amazing how they promote these equal unions and equal partnerships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then right after it's a divorce. Because this is dated, let's see, February of last year. This is dated February of last year. These two have a well thought out plan for how to raise their kids separately, apparently. 9-year-old son, Cree, and 3-year-old daughter, Cairo, and stay happily married for 13 years. Ha! Well, not many more after that. Lucky for us, they were eager to share what with She Knows. So this is a woman's publication. How they teach their children about Black History Month and squash gender roles in their home and out in the world. Oh, you squashed gender roles in your home, huh? You squashed gender roles in your home. What could possibly go wrong by squashing gender roles in your home? Oh, that is such a bright idea. It's just so wise. It's just so woke. It's just so new age. We are squashing gender roles, people. We're squashing gender roles. This is a new thing and it's going to work perfectly, right? This is a year before they divorced. We're squashing gender roles, squashing gender roles. We are also lucky. Mowry and Hardick had had time for us, as both of them have been back on their separate TV sets dealing with daily COVID nose swabs and all of the other new realities of 2021 life following last year's shutdown. Though they were in two different places, they both joined the line to help promote Come Clean, the Close the Chore Gap. Oh, God. Oh, God. This sounds like something stupid. Come Clean to Close the Chore Gap. This sounds like some complete feminist bullshit. Just the name, Come Clean to Close the Chore Gap. What in the hell is the chore gap? Well, it's a huge gap now. You're getting a divorce. Ah, Lion. Okay, so perfect time to demonstrate my newfound ability. All right. So, and I'll make it bigger for today, given you're the first today. Actually, I'll make that a thing. The first one, the first super chat of the day gets a bigger promotion. All right, so here's what I do now. A new person sends a super chat, sends me money, which I appreciate. I will put them in the red pill matrix as follows. You see that? Lion 917. Actually, I'm going to change the color. I'm going to do some things with this. So, Super Chat and Cash Apps is the way to get placed into the red pill matrix. The larger you do it first, you automatically get a boost. And the larger the donation, the longer and stronger and bolder your presence will be in the matrix. Greatly appreciate you, Lion. All right, I'm going to read it in a moment. So, that being said, let's see. Where was I? All right, after a few minutes, I lost my place completely. Okay, let's see. Come Clean to Close the Chore Gap. That is so stupid. That is so stupid. A campaign from Don and Swiffer that encouraging households to recognize the equal division of housework between. Shut your stupid ass up. All right, now I know not to, and I use both those. That's the cold part. I got like a whole Swiffer system. Dang, now I just got to get a regular mop. I am not fooling with these clowns. Unequal division of housework between men. Wait a minute. What does that mean? A division between men means that you are separating the house. So in order for this to make sense, the unequal division of housework between men, the household would have to be divided between two or more men. Which means that you have a woman with two husbands, one of whom is doing more housework than the other. They are out their damn mind. Even when both also have outside jobs to do. Why are you telling people how to live their relationships? You see, this is why Piers Morgan thinks the way he thinks, because outsiders are telling people how to live their relationships. Listen, if a woman wants to work her ass off and then come home and mop her ass off, that is her prerogative. And then go into the bedroom and bag that ass up, that is her prerogative. Jackass. Who are you to say something is unfair? Who are you to say crap like that? Oh, yeah. Where's my phone? Oh, yeah, my phone's in my robe pocket. Who are you to say some crap like that? Swiffer thinks they have the right to teach you how to live your damn life. That's stupid. You're stupid if you fall for this crap. I am happy. I like doing the line. There is certain things I like doing. I'm not going to try to, oh no, you mow half of it. Even when both also have outside jobs to do, for everyone who commits to close the gap in their homes, both brands will donate cleaning supplies to a family in need. Oh my God. This is just a company's way of writing off crap. I'm reading this for the first time. This is how they just get a tax write-off for crap that they would have thrown away. They're basically going to, like, you know, donate, you know, expired Swiffer cloths and a bunch of just, you know, used Dawn dishwashing liquid. What is a family in need? What kind of family needs cleaning supplies? I literally see it at the Dollar General. There's a family with dirty dishes out there. That's like, ooh, I agree. Listen, you show me a family who's desperately in need of dishwashing liquid, I will show you a family that they are not dividing the housework between the man and the woman. You want to know why? Because there is no man and a woman. It don't take two people to buy dishwashing liquid. This is unbelievable. Okay. Let's see. So now they're promoting that crap. And that's something that Tia Mowry was a part of. Look at how old this bitch is now. That's something that she was a part of. It turns out that gap is not a problem. It turns out this gap is not a problem, Mowry and Hardick says they ever had. And they're making sure their kids won't either. Oh, wow. You're teaching your kids. What a great example you're leading for your kids. Okay. She knows I'm pretty sure I didn't think much about TV stars during household chores before today. But I have certainly thought a lot about the chore gap. You're an idiot. Tell me how to divide the work in your home. Oh, God. Well, you can have two homes, as you do now, because you're getting a divorce. Oh, yeah, that's you. So, Tia Mowry, we have always believed in equality. We've always believed in being a team, and I credit it with our success within our marriage. We've been married for 13 years and together for 21 years. And one of the main reasons is because Corey and I were not so focused on gender stereotypes and gender roles. Corey has always been supportive of me, and I've always been supportive of him. Ha! 1 year later. Okay. If I'm cooking, Corey will wash the dishes. And what's so great about this campaign and this initiative is we're encouraging people to close the chore gap. Personally, just wash the damn dishes too. You dirtied the dishes when you cooked, so wash them. All right, let's see. Is that we're encouraging people to close the chore gaps because it's not like that in all households. No, it's not like that in all households. That's why they're not getting divorced. You want to know the households that are like that? The ones where people are about to get a divorce. You want to know the households that are not like that? The households of single people are people who are in functioning marriages that will last a test of time. And you want to know why the man and the woman is not leaving? Because the man knows that if he leaves her, he will have to wash the damn dishes himself and cook. You can do equality separately, stupid. That is why equality doesn't work. All right, let me read the super chat. All right. Lion 917 says, not to be that guy with answering a question with a question, but why would a man take responsibility for someone that he has no control over? Oh, there is a reason that a man would take responsibility over someone he has no control over, and that reason is because he's stupid. That's the reason. You're stupid if you take responsibility over something that you have no control over. Like when the Secret Service says, I will take a bullet for the President of the United States. It is understood that if the president, they're the only people that have the ability to grab the president and drag his ass to the limousine, the bulletproof limousine, at any given time. The president knows to follow the Secret Service authority. They are not going to do otherwise. If the president says, you know something, I want to take a stroll down the park by myself in Russia, they have the authority to say no. If he chooses to do it anyway, they have every right to say, I am not taking a bullet from this fool. Let's continue. All right. Usually a lot of responsibilities land on one person. And yes, it does. It's called division of labor. Land on one person, and that one person is usually a woman. Oh my God. Yes, we got to help our women. So look at this. How cucked are you? How cucked are you? And men, pay attention. You think being cucked is going to get you somewhere. You think being cucked is the secret to a healthy, long-lasting relationship. Obviously, it's not. Look at this. Tia Mowry, said all this. And Corey just had this to say to the same question. Yes, we got to help our women. She's like blah 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 blah. That's him. Blah blah. This is what happens. So it's obvious who is taking leadership positions, and you see where that led you. She wasn't happy in the leadership position. SK, do you have a conversation about this, or did you have a conversation about this early on, or did it just happen naturally? CH, it happened naturally. When I met Tia, I was a clean person, but I was like on the surface clean. Oh God. What are you, somebody that just washed the front of their hands because that's all you can see? Like you only brush your front teeth? What does that mean? You were on the surface clean. Oh God. I hide everything inside a cabinet and shut it. Oh yeah, I do stuff like that. When you open it, it will fall out on you. Tia showed me that you've got to open those drawers and put all your clothes up. Fold them, separate your dirty clothes and clean clothes. What the hell? What the hell? She gave you dictation. And put all your clothes up. Fold them, separate your dirty clothes and clean clothes. Clean everything. Mop. Tia has definitely shown me how to be a clean person, and that has bled over to our children. Holy crap. First of all, who was washing your damn clothes before? You wasn't even clean on the surface if you have to be told how to wash your clothes. If you had a series of women washing your clothes before Tia came along, you should have married them. Now look at you. Now look at you. The first thing you should have said when she said that is, oh, wow, you're really good at this. So that's your job because you know all the details of how to wash some drawers. And yes, I will be doing the other stuff, whatever that entails. Taking dictation. See, that's the thing. I am the dictator because I have the dick. And you are to give me taters. Like, that is how that works. Tamara or Tia, whichever one. Tia. We believe in equality and we want to model that behavior for our children so that they won't go out into the world. They'll have that perspective. So when they go out into the world, they'll have that perspective and they can make a difference and change the world. Change it to what? Broken homes? The world is already changed into the broken homes that your jackass people like yourself has done. You air-faced. God, I can't stand air-faced people. When everybody comes together and help with the responsibility, that's basically what you're doing. You're squashing those gender role stereotypes and you're helping your children understand responsibility and community. No, your children do not understand division of labor. That is why football players and basketball players and stuff like that has different roles. This is division of labor. If you have a team full of quarterbacks, you will lose. You don't have a bunch of people doing the same thing at different times. That just don't work that way. If you are working at a toy factory or something, at a Barbie doll factory, one person puts on the legs and another person puts on the head. And that is how the assembly line works. One person put the legs on, then you hand it over to the next person. They put the arms on, you hand it over to the next person. They put the head on, hand it over to the next person. They put the clothes on, then they put it in the package. Different people doing different tasks. Your task is to wash the damn clothes. Why? Because obviously he is not fit for that particular task. Cree did something so beautiful this morning. I was cooking breakfast. Cree did something so beautiful this morning. I was cooking breakfast this morning. And then, I started to wash the dishes because Corey was at work. And then Cree goes, oh, Mommy, I can help you. Do you want me to wash those dishes for you? Okay. Don't really care about that because it's in a child's nature to want to be helpful to their parents. So nothing really wrong there. All right. Now, one last clip. If I could find it, hopefully they have it somewhere. And it's from the TV show called The Jeffersons. But before that, let me go because people were saying check my phone. So I'm gonna do that so I can put them in the matrix. I'll be right back. Hold on. Well, all right. So Deacon Dave sent a heavy-handed one. I greatly appreciate you. So you appreciate the heavy hand. All right, let's see. And here we go. So appreciate you. Thanks a lot, Deacon Dave. All right. And as you can see, it was a heavy hand and it deserves the respect thereof. So there's the slow going downer and downer and downer for Deacon Dave. Let's see. For I ain't paying Google. That's, yeah. Thank you. I do prefer the Cash Apps over the Super Chats because, Google takes their cut from the other one. So, Deacon Dave, there you go. Greatly appreciate you. You are in the Red Pill Matrix. Appreciate you a lot, brother. All right. Now, let me see if I can find this Jefferson's clip. Let's see. Give me one moment, people.
We did it.
All right, hold on. All right, I think this might be it. Oh, wait, is that another one? All right, give me a second, y'all. I remember seeing this as a kid, so bear with me. I should have had this queued up. What was I thinking? Oh, well. If this ain't it, I'll just explain. Oh, here we go. All right, perfect. Glad I was able to find this, and thanks a lot, Sweet Melody Speaks. All right. Okay, so basically, this is an episode where George and Wheezy are renewing their vows. Hit that like button. Now, want to show you exactly what happens here. Oh, wait. Does this
anyone can show just cause why this couple should not be rejoined, let that person speak now or forever hold their peace. Excuse me. Do you, George Jefferson, take this woman to be your lawful wedded wife, to live together in the holy state of matrimony? Do you promise to love her? I do all of that. Do you, Louise Jefferson, take this man to be your lawful wedded husband?
By the way, I love George Jefferson. He was one of my favorite people ever, except this part right here and the way that he let Florence treat him.
To live together in the holy state of matrimony, do you promise to love, honor, and keep him in...
Y'all see that? Did y'all catch that? Watch this. Now, the Jeffersons is like the early 80s, but watch this.
Your lawful wedded husband, to live together in the holy state of matrimony. Do you promise to love, honor, and keep him in... What happened to obey? Pardon? Obey. You forgot to say love, honor, and obey. That's what Weezy promised at our first wedding. Oh, we don't use the word obey anymore.
Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? The priest said, we don't use the word obey anymore. are out your damn mind. You see this? This is how they change marriage. This is how they change what marriage is. We don't use the word obey anymore. Ain't that a bitch? What kind of world? Keep in mind, this happened. I seen this when I was a kid. So many of you, like Sweet Melody Speaks, many of you younger people only knew this world. Your parents didn't obey. They just took an eraser and just rubbed the word obey right out the thing and pretended like that was the way things has always been. George was like, wait a minute, what happened to obey? And he said, and the priest, the pastor or whatever, the minister, he was like, huh? Dude, you old as hell. You've been giving marriages forever. You know what he means. You was there when they took the word obey out the vows. Stop playing with your damn self. You know better. You know exactly what he means. He means that stuff that you said 5 years ago. He means that the stuff that you married your wife under. That's what he's talking about. We don't say obey anymore. Get your ass out of here. Give me a priest. Give me a preacher. I don't care if I have to go to a whole damn new religion or create one of my own. You're fired. You are fucking fired. How dare you say what I tell you say? We don't use the word obey anymore. Shit, the priest is paid off by the gynocracy. You damn right. Well, he's not going to get paid off by me. You're fired. You're fired! So, George renews his vows without obedience, which means that the marriage from this point on is going to be absent obedience. And watch what happens next. Not 5 seconds later, watch what happens next.
Promise to love, honor, and keep him in sickness and in health, for richer or for poorer, forsaking all others, for as long as ye both shall live. Say, I do.
Okay, I'll lower the prices in the home store 5%.
Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Now she's leveraging the dude. Now she is leveraging the dude right now. Now she's taking control of the relationship. Now she's determining how much he lowers the price of whatever in his business. The one that she's a housewife with a maid and grown kids. She does nothing. She does nothing at any time. Always. She is doing nothing, but she wants control over what happens over Jefferson Cleaners. And in order to exercise that control, he won't get any vucking. He don't get the vuck because of this. So she's going to just stand there and not agree to the vows until he meets her demands.
6%. Okay, 8%. That's my final offer. 10%. I do.
He had to take a 10% pay cut just to get his wife, who's already married to him, to say I do. You want to know what George Jefferson should have did? He should have just said, you fat bitch. You should be happy that I am marrying you again. You're fat now, okay? I would not have done this the first time. When I married you, you were young hotness. You were younger, hotter, sexier, childless. You deserved marriage back in the day. Okay? You do not deserve that now. When we were young, I was short, you were sexy, I was broke, you was working. This is when we was young. Now, I'm rich, bitch. It would be a whole different thing. You could have left that bitch right then and there. She is digging into your pockets. Hey, trust me, if that was me, the next episode would have had a completely different theme song. Okay? It would have had completely different theme song. Moving on up to a young bitch. And she might even be what her I'm moving on up to a white bitch. I finally got a piece of her thighs. Fish don't fry in the kitchen, and bitch don't clean no more. It would be a whole different theme song. Fucking with me. The only reason why I'm still with you is because I am dedicated to you from the pussy you gave me when I was just a short, broke nigga. Understand that. You deserve nothing now. You deserve nothing and you get nothing but what I give you for the gifts you gave me in the past. And here you are, not going to say the obey thing, part of the wedding vows. Bitch! You are out your damn mind and you sound like a man. You sound like a man with COVID. I hate you. All right, so let me put Sweet Melody Speaks in there. She says, hit that like button. All right. Sweet Melody Media, look for yourself in the red pill make. Oh, there you go. There you go, right there. All right. Look for yourself in the red pill matrix. I got to do something about you long named people. All right. And Mr. Shane Vicious. All right. You also are in there. Let me do this one. All right. Mr. Shane Vicious, thanks a lot. All right. And let me go down, check for more. That's because Latino people didn't exist in the 80s, Reese. They didn't invent Latino people until 1992. Back then, it was just black people and white people. So y'all see where this is going. Y'all see where this is going. Y'all see where this leads to. This type of chaos, this type of confusion, this type of mayhem. They done yoinked the word obey right out of the marriage vows. You go to a modern marriage and you don't even hear it. For some people, it never existed. But nope, there are people like myself who remember the way God intended it. And God intended for you to get me sandwich. You do what I say do. You belong to me. You are my property and I own you. Hold on. Let me show you what I mean. Let me show y'all what I mean. Hold on. I'm going to start doing like video. And I know I'm behind because I don't spend as much time prepping as other YouTubers. So salute to those. Those ones who have the memes already ready and stuff. You know, shout out to Bernard Riley. Don't do that. But here's what I do. And yes, I said doo-doo. I do take the time out because I know exactly where to go. So here. Panic Zone. Okay, so Zone, I'm looking at my thumbnail picture. And I didn't put Megan Good simply because hold on. Dang it. Can't find it. I'll find it later. I didn't put Megan Good's picture simply because she's Megan Good. I put it because in that one particular instance, she had a dog leash around her neck, which shows property, which shows ownership. And that's why I put her in the picture with Andrew Tate. That's why I did that. Here, let's see. Let's see if I do this. Maybe this is it. Hold on.
When you get a job.
Yeah, I think that this is it. I think this is the soundbite I was looking for. Give me a second, Shaw. All right. Actually, in the meantime, I guess I'll put the link out there because I got some searching to do. So.
Round? I took a sacred.
Hey, what's going on, Sweet Melody Speaks?
Hey, nothing much. Interesting stream we got here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Hold on. Let me. Here's the part I want to share. I think that this is where he says it. I think. All right. Give me a second. So, what sticks out to you the most on the stream? Let's start there. What do you have in particular to say about the stream?
Okay, so what I have to say about the stream, well, I came in kind of late when you were talking about like George Jefferson and things like that. But
Well, what do you how do you feel about them taking the word obey right out of the marriage vows?
yeah, I was about to say that was crazy, and I find it funny because you and the manosphere speak of this generation of women not obeying men and stuff like that, and how good it was back in the day with like our grandparents, because George Jefferson would have been like our grandparent if he was still alive, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's like they were even feminists back then.
Exactly. So we're generations into this now. You know, like we're generations into it. But see, here's look at this.
With your wife. No! My wife is not a doobie to be passed around! I took a sacred vow on my wedding day to bogart her forever.
Oh, homie.
There's only one reason.
Okay, nah, that's not the scene I was looking for. So I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it one day. And I will put that like on my reel because Homer said it best in that particular instance. But yeah, Melody, it's been around long before you and almost long before me. It has. You know, like this type of, they just slowly started taking this submissive aspect of marriage and of relationship out the equation. And they chronically started promoting this, even chores bullshit, into the American way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And you wonder why and by the way, I'm just talking about passport dudes in general, men with passport or passport bros or blue book gentlemen, whatever you want to call it. Shout out to Pablo, whatever you want to call it. Why men are leaving? They're leaving because of crap like that. They're leaving because y'all saying stuff like that, just general stupidity all the time.
Yeah, well, let's just hope that it doesn't reach these countries.
I mean, it's still unsustainable. It's still unsustainable. You see, in order for this to happen, you need a huge propaganda engine and a considerable amount of wealth. You see, any woman Tamara Mowry, she's an actress, meaning that she works maybe like 13 hours a year or some crap like that. Maybe like 40 hours a year. Like that's how, like, when you look at a TV series and they have 12 1-hour episodes, that's it. That is all the work they did all year.
Right.
Now, Tamara don't even do that. Or Tia, this one is Tia. Tia don't even do that.
Tia's the one that's with the black husband, right?
Right. That was with the black husband, exactly.
Well, what was, yeah.
Yeah. So Tia was the one that was with the black. I do too. She was the one that was with the black husband, and she's not actually working. Neither of them two work. And by working, I'm not talking about, listen, I would love to not work. They're retired in a sense. She gets her sister check from every time they play it on Nick at Night, if they still play it on Nick at Night, and she gets that money from the game also. She gets royalties and all that crap. I haven't seen her in anything in forever because she's slowly fading and she's too damn old for twin movies. So, and they don't even look the same anymore. So, yeah, they're at that stage in life, but they still have the wealth. Therefore, it's not doing anything. But see, that doesn't work for everybody. That only works in countries where women work in air-conditioned buildings and they tell other women what the fuck to do all day. It only works under those circumstances. It doesn't work in real life when people have jobs like, mop the shit up, like, or whatever, like they have jobs like unclog the soda machine or whatever a crappy job is. I don't know. Like, if your job is to polish nuclear waste, you have a crappy job. Like, that is what you do. If you work in the cell phone factory, this whole equality thing is gonna sound like bullshit at that time, because you're gonna work at the cell phone factory and your husband is going to be right next to you working at the cell phone factory, and then you both come home and take turns mopping. That will be the entirety of your existence, and you will hate it. You will hate it.
Right.
See, it only seems good in places where they have like work-life balance jobs. And America is a place with work-life balance jobs. Now, you may ask yourself, well, one day the rest of the world will get work-life balance jobs. America, you need to woo the day that ever happens. Think about it. Your Nikes cost, let's just say $100, right? And that is with them paying some poor kid in, in Hong Kong 85 cents an hour. Imagine if they started paying him $20 an hour. Imagine how much your shoes would cost. Imagine how much your computer would cost. Imagine how much your cell phone would cost. Imagine how much your everything would cost once they start up in the raises or up in the pay and treatment of everybody in the world. It would cost infinity. That's how much it will cost. It will cost infinity. How much will your PlayStation cost? It will cost infinity. That's how much stuff would cost if they start upping the pay of everybody. So you better, then you will no longer be in the first world nation because you can't afford to live the first world quality of life anymore because everything costs too damn much. So yes, we reap off the benefits of the low wages of others. As long as those wages remain low, it cannot exist. Feminism, notice how, see, listen to me good, fellas. Notice how feminism didn't exist. So I forget which president, but the FDA started, I got to go in like 5 minutes. The FDA started because a certain president had a thumb in his Campbell's soup. Look it up. He found a thumb in his Campbell's soup.
For real?
And yeah, a human thumb. Which means that somebody, some poor soup factory working guy, lost his thumb, and then he had to keep working just using his other fingers. That and that thumb, they didn't even look for the thumb. It wound up in the soup. It just got canned and shipped off to the president.
Wow.
So that was the work conditioning. Notice how they weren't saying that where were the feminists at when your job was to shovel coal into the train engine? Where were feminists at then? Where were feminists at when people were like working at the LeQuint Dickey Mining Corporation? Where was feminism then? Where was feminism when the only jobs that women and men can get was like picking stuff? You're picking tobacco. You're picking. Where was feminism then? Where was feminism? Why is it that it only exists when the good jobs are out? Where was feminism like during the longshoreman days? I know that there still exists longshoremen and stuff like that, but like, where are these people? This is just made up crap.
Yep. Because they would never have wanted to do the work that you men did back then. They just wouldn't have.
Exactly. The draft too, they are still missing. Well, yeah, but my point is that it can't spread throughout the world because there aren't enough air conditioning building jobs. Even here is failing because the job market isn't what it used to be. You know, it's a failed construct, just like the whole marriage where the man don't own you.
Mm-hmm.
That is a failed construct. It's nothing wrong with being owned by somebody who has your best intentions at heart. Nothing at all. And it's nothing wrong with owning a person if you have their best intentions at heart. Nothing at all.
If you wait, what's the echo? Can't hear myself.
Oh, I don't know. Chat room, y'all hear echo?
I think I can't even tell. It's really down. All right, I'm gonna try to say it real quick. So a lot of women cringe at the word ownership. They don't want a man to say they own them or obey or none of those types of words. They do not like it. Like if a man say, I want to own you or you must obey, a woman would be like, what? She might even fight you.
Exactly. And that's because they're trained to do that. They're trained, you know, just like what we've seen on the Jeffersons. They're trained. You know, they're saying, oh, obey is a bad word. Basically, they put the N word is like no other word with a hard ER. So what they do is because people have put a box around the N word, what society has done is they just started throwing other words into that box. Perfectly good words. Midget is a perfectly good word. Oriental is a perfectly good word. Retarded is a perfectly good word. And obey is a perfectly good word. And submission is a perfectly good word. Stop putting all these other words into the N-word box.
Mm-hmm.
They want to make everything outside of this whole relationship. thing dynamic that they feel is working, even though it's not working. They want to make that the acceptable norm. But it's not happening. I'm about to go because people saying I'm echoing.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, and besides, it's 2 hours. So, any final thoughts?
Great show, and thanks for having me. And oh yeah, everybody, I forget it because I can't hear myself. Forget it.
All right. Well, with that, thank the Cash App Super Chats, managers, moderators, those who are listening silently, and those who participate in the chat. Thank you, Lion917, Deacon Dave, Sweet Melody Speaks, and there was somebody else. Mr. Shane Fisher, still on there. Let's see. George should have upgraded and got a white chick. Yeah. I wouldn't even call it an upgrade, but I mean, no, a submissive woman is an upgrade. So presumably if the woman is submissive, then yes, he is upgrading. Now, make sure you hit that like button on your way out. GameChanger 00100. Game over. Peace.